You finally made it! Of course I did! I wouldn't miss this for the world.
Chioma, a hopeful village girl, stepped off the dusty bus into the bright lights of Lagos. Her heart raced with excitement and a little fear. She had come to the city to meet her friend Bimbo, determined to find rich Lagos guy.
Welcome to Lagos, girl. Look at these tall buildings and busy streets. You're going to fit right in. Come on, let's get you dressed.
A few moments later.
Chioma dressed in the beautiful outfit her friends had prepared. She felt like a princess.
You look amazing. Everyone will notice you.
Chioma felt a mix of nerves and pride. She had dreamed of this moment for so long. The girls settled into their hostel room, crowding around the small mirror. "You shine," Bimbo praised. "Who needs any of those rich Lagos babes? We'll show them how it's done." Chioma giggled and smoothed her dress. Later, over dinner of jollof rice and chicken, Bimbo explained the plan.
Tomorrow we're meeting the chief. He was asking about you. Dress sharp, he's big money.
Chioma's eyes grew wide. This was her chance to make a good impression. Her friends gave her tips on how to greet him politely, how to smile and laugh even if she was nervous. Exhausted by the excitement, Chioma fell asleep dreaming of the money that might come her way. The next day, Chioma and her friends arrived at a quiet, modest mansion in Ikoye. The compound was neat and calm, the kind of place that spoke softly of wealth.
Lift your shoulders. Walk like you own the floor. Smile small but confident. You're the star here.
As the girls stepped into the elegant living room, Chioma's heart began to race. The soft lighting, the expensive furniture, and the calm atmosphere made her nervous. She felt butterflies in her stomach. Bimbo noticed immediately. She gently squeezed Chioma's hand and whispered, "Don't disgrace me here if you know you can't do it. Go back to the village you come from." Chief Obi welcomed them warmly and poured wine for them.
Chief, this is Chioma. Chioma is the chief I told you about.
Chief Ob nodded with a gentle smile. He turned to Chioma and studied her for a moment. "You look lovely, Chioma," he said warmly. "Bimbo, I trust you bring the most beautiful girls." Chioma smiled shyly. After a brief conversation, Chief Obi excused himself and quietly invited Chioma to follow him. Chioma hesitated for a second, then smiled and stood up. As she walked past her friends, Bimbo leaned closer and whispered, "You've got this, babe."
2 hours later.
Chief Obi leaned forward and handed her a thick envelope.
Chioma, you are truly a wonderful girl. You really made my day today. Please, take this. Looking forward to see you more.
Chioma gasped, both embarrassed and thrilled. "Thank you, sir," she stammered. "You're too kind." Back at the hostel that evening, Chioma emptied the envelope onto the small table. Her two friends cheered. "We did it!" Bimbo grinned. "You're rich now, sis." Zara clapped her hands. "Wow, Chioma. Chief Obi really likes you." Chioma carefully counted the notes, hardly believing her eyes. "I never imagined. I can't even count this much," she said softly. "I feel like I'm dreaming." After celebrating with cold Fanta and cola nuts, the girls made a new plan. "Let's go to that big club tomorrow night," Bimbo suggested. "Not for the chief, he's old news. Let's see if we can meet some young, rich Lagos Ogas." Bimbo nodded enthusiastically. "Yes! We'll dress up and find wealthy men who won't mind spending money on us." Chioma agreed, a bit nervous but excited. They picked out their sharpest outfits, practicing dances in front of the mirror. That night, the girls giggled under their mosquito net, imagining dancing in a fancy party. That evening, loud music pulsed through the walls of Skyline Lounge, a popular nightclub. Chioma and Bimbo entered arm in arm, catching the eyes of many people. The club was packed. Laser lights flashed, people danced, and the bar glowed with neon. "You look beautiful, girl," she said. "Just show off that smile and those moves." The girls made their way to the dance floor. Bimbo turned on a hit song and started swaying. "Dance, Chioma," Bimbo urged. Emboldened by the rhythm, Chioma let loose and danced. She laughed as Bimbo copied a popular move. Across the room, two well-dressed young men noticed them. Abiola, a handsome CEO type, kept staring at Chioma. His friend Deely nudged him. "Dude, why don't you go talk to them?" Deely said. Abiola shrugged. "Nah, just looking," he said casually. Deely teased, "Eyeing her much?" "Go on." Abiola smirked and stood up. He walked confidently over to them. "Good evening, ladies," Abiola said, flashing a charming smile. "You all look absolutely stunning. I hope I'm not disturbing you." Bimbo beamed back. "Not at all," she replied. "We were just having fun." Abiola pointed at the drinks on their table. "Mind if I buy you something?" Chioma's heart fluttered. A handsome rich guy was talking to them. "Oh, I'd love a cold Sprite," Chioma said politely, smiling gratefully. "Thank you." Abiola ordered drinks for the girls and joined them. They chatted and laughed together under the strobe lights. Bimbo animatedly showed off some dance moves, making everyone laugh. Chioma felt comfortable and happy talking to Abiola.
Later that same evening.
It's becoming very late. I think we should head out. It's almost 5 a.m.
The girls started to walk toward the exit side by side. Suddenly, Chioma tripped on a wet spot by a pool table. "Ah!" she cried. In the dark, Bimbo didn't notice Chioma moving and bumped into her. Both girls slipped on the wet floor and tumbled down a few steps, landing in a small decorative pool near the exit. "Ah!" Both squealed as cold water splashed up. They clambered out immediately, soaked and mortified. People around the exit stared, then burst out laughing. But Abiola and Deely had already gone outside for air, so they missed the whole scene. Chioma scrambled to her feet, water dripping. "Oh my goodness," she said, embarrassed. She saw Bimbo brush wet hair out of her eyes. "You okay?" Bimbo hissed. "We tripped me. We got laughed at just because of you." Chioma wiped water off her dress. "I'm so sorry. I was trying to avoid the drinks table and I slipped." They hurried outside, hearing loud laughter fade behind them. "That was so embarrassing," Chioma muttered. "Why do I always do clumsy things at the worst time?" Bimbo threw her drenched hair back. "Forget it. Let's just get home before Abiola sees us like this." Chioma grabbed her phone to call a ride, but there was no signal. "Great, no network either," she groaned. "We might have to walk," Bimbo sighed. "We can manage," she said. "It'll be a long walk, but let's go." They started walking through the almost empty streets. They hadn't gone far when a sleek black SUV car slowed beside them. The driver's window rolled down. "Hey girls, why are you walking so late?" It was Abiola. "And why are you so wet?" His voice was worried. Chioma recognized him instantly and nearly gasped. "Oh, Mr. Abiola, we're so sorry," she said. We're okay. But Bimbo cut in quickly, wiping water from her face. "We are not okay. Oh. We would really need some help." Abiola stepped out. "Come on, get in," he insisted. "I can't leave you like this." Chioma hesitated, but Bimbo nudged her. "Please, come," Bimbo urged. "We're so tired." Reluctantly, Chioma opened the car door and slid into the warm leather seat. Bimbo climbed in beside her. As Abiola started driving, the rain began to mist again. Chioma shivered and tucked her wet hair behind her ear. Bimbo chatted animatedly with Abiola and Deely in the front seat, as if nothing had happened. Chioma looked out the window, unsure what to say. They arrived at Chioma's hostel quietly. Bimbo said thanks with a big smile. "Thank you so much for the ride, Oga Abiola," Bimbo said. "We really appreciate it." "No problem," Abiola replied. "Be careful, both of you." Chioma got out. "Good night, sir," she said politely. She looked forward to getting home and drying off. But as Chioma turned to wave goodbye, Bimbo gasped and pointed at the car. "Chioma, your bag!" she exclaimed. Chioma's heart sank. Oh no. She realized her small purse, with the keys to the hostel, was on the floor of Abiola's car. My key! It's in the car? Bimbo was furious. Why so you always forget things? Oya, take my phone, call your number. She collected the phone and called her number. 1 second. We left our bag in your car. Our keys are inside, how Chioma said, embarrassed. Could we please get it back? We're sorry. Abiola smiled understandingly. Oh, that happens, he said kindly. You can come get it. He sent his home address when they arrived. They stopped in front of a large, beautiful house. Bright lights lit up the compound. Tall gates, shiny floors, and quiet luxury surrounded them. Chioma and Bimbo stepped down from the car and stared. Wow, Bimbo whispered. See how fine this house is. Nodded slowly, her eyes moving around the place. This house is very beautiful, she said softly. They noticed Abiola standing there, waiting for them. Abiola, Chioma said politely. He smiled and handed the bag to her. Here is your bag. Thank you so much, Chioma said quickly, holding it tightly. She turned to Bimbo. Let's go. They were about to leave when Abiola spoke. Wait, he said. They stopped and turned back. It's already late, Abiola continued. You both look tired. You can stay here for the night. Bimbo looked at Chioma in surprise. Chioma hesitated. Are you sure? She asked. We don't want to disturb you. Abiola nodded calmly. It's fine, he said. You should not be going out this late. Chioma looked at the beautiful house again, then at Bimbo. After a short pause, she nodded. Okay, she said softly. Abiola's mansion was even more magnificent than the club they had just left. The sofas in the living room were large and neatly arranged, covered in soft fabric that looked both comfortable and luxurious. A glass center table sat perfectly in the middle, polished so well it reflected the ceiling lights. Thick curtains hung from the tall windows. Wow, Bimbo whispered in awe. This place is like a palace. As Chioma walked, the marble floors shined beneath her feet, reflecting the golden light from a massive chandelier hanging above the entrance. Everything looked clean, calm, and expensive. She swallowed hard. This kind of house, Chioma murmured softly. People really live like this? She followed her friend through the grand living room, afraid to touch anything. The sofas looked too perfect. The walls were decorated with beautiful artwork, and the air smelled faintly of expensive perfume. Just then, a neatly dressed maid appeared with a gentle smile. Good evening, the maid said politely. Please follow me. She led the girls down a quiet hallway and opened a large door. This is your room, the maid said sweetly. Please make yourselves comfortable. As soon as the door closed behind her, the girls gasped. The bedroom was breathtaking. The ceiling was high, the carpet soft under their feet, and 2 large plush beds sat neatly dressed in satin sheets. Ornate mirrors and golden frames decorated the walls, and soft lighting made the room feel warm and peaceful. I feel like a queen, Bimbo said dramatically, dropping onto one of the beds and spreading her arms wide. Chioma slowly sat on the other bed, still looking around in disbelief. She touched the soft sheets gently, as if afraid they weren't real. This is unbelievable, she murmured. I've never slept in a place like this before. Bimbo leaned close to Chioma and mouthed quietly, just stay calm and smile. Then she whispered softly, almost like a reminder, be polite. Even if he says anything that's not funny, just laugh at it. I pray he gives the money. Chioma nodded slowly. She was beginning to understand how her friend moved in Lagos. Not long after, the maid returned, carrying trays filled with steaming plates of jollof rice and chicken. The smell alone made their stomachs growl. Dinner! Bimbo exclaimed happily. I'm starving! They sat down to eat, the earlier tension slowly fading away. Every bite felt warm and comforting. Chioma ate quietly, still processing how fast her life seemed to be changing. As sleepiness crept in, she leaned back on the bed and sighed softly. I still can't believe we're spending the night here, Chioma said, almost to herself. Bimbo laughed lightly and kicked off her shoes. Welcome to Lagos life, she said. This is just the beginning. Chioma looked at her reflection in the mirror, a small smile forming on her lips. Tonight was something she could never have imagined, and deep down, she wondered what tomorrow would bring. In the early morning, Abiola and Deely sat in the quiet living room, the television playing softly in the background. A news channel was on, but neither of them was really watching it. Deely leaned back on the couch, scrolling through his phone, while Abiola stared at the screen, thinking. After a moment, Deely lowered his voice. So, what are we doing about those girls? He asked casually. Abiola sighed. They'll probably leave this morning. Deely smirked slightly. Not if we don't want them to. Abiola turned to look at him. What do you mean? Deely sat up and leaned closer. You know we left their bag in the car on purpose, he said. If we wanted, they wouldn't even be here right now. Abiola stayed quiet. Deely continued, lowering his voice even more. Let's be smart. We need time. I still need to see Baba today, and I don't want distractions. If the girls stay around for a while, you can bond with them properly. Make them feel comfortable, free. Abiola frowned slightly. And how do you suggest we keep them here? Deely smiled slowly. Easy. Lie to them. Abiola raised an eyebrow. Lie how? Deely pointed at the TV. Say there's a curfew, that nobody is allowed outside till evening. They'll have no choice but to wait. Abiola hesitated. That's risky. Deely waved it off. They won't question it. Just act normal. Be nice. Talk to them. Let them relax. If they feel safe here, they'll come back any time we want them to. Abiola leaned back, thinking. Fine, he said at last. I'll handle it. Meanwhile, upstairs, Chioma and Bimbo were still fast asleep. Heavy curtains blocked most of the sunlight, but thin rays slowly crept into the room. The air was quiet and calm. Bimbo stirred first. She yawned loudly and sat up, rubbing her eyes. Chioma, she muttered, nudging her. Wake up! Chioma groaned and turned over. What time is it? Bimbo glanced around, then at her phone. Her eyes widened. Ah, she exclaimed. It's afternoon. We overslept. Chioma shot up immediately. What? Oh my God. They rushed to freshen up, folding their clothes and gathering their things. We should get ready to leave, Chioma said quickly. We've stayed too long already. Just as they stepped into the hallway, Abiola appeared, pretending to be busy with his phone. Oh, good afternoon, he said calmly. I was just about to come upstairs. Chioma smiled politely. Good afternoon, sir. We were getting ready to leave. Abiola sighed and shook his head. That might be difficult. Bimbo frowned. Why? There's a curfew, Abiola said casually. Nobody is allowed outside until 6 p.m. Chioma and Bimbo exchanged confused looks. A curfew? Chioma asked. We didn't hear about that. Abiola nodded. It was announced this morning. It's the law. I can't let you go out now. Chioma forced a small smile. Oh, okay, no problem. But inside, she felt uneasy. As they walked back toward their room, Bimbo nudged Chioma excitedly. More time here, she whispered. This place is sweet. Just act grateful. Chioma nodded, but her heart wasn't light. Later in the afternoon, Chioma noticed her phone was about to die. She walked back to the living room. Oga Abiola, she said softly. Please, can I borrow a charger? My phone is low. Android? He asked. No. Oh, there should be one in the kitchen. Thank you, sir. Chioma went to the kitchen and plugged in her phone. As she stood there, she suddenly noticed a strong smell, burning, but mixed with food. She turned quickly. Abiola was standing by the stove, stirring a pot awkwardly. "Oh!" Chioma exclaimed. "You're cooking!" Abiola laughed nervously. "Yes, I'm trying to make noodles." She looked at the pot, amused. "Why didn't you call the maid?" "She couldn't come because of the curfew," he said. "And I was hungry." Chioma stepped closer and smiled. "You shouldn't suffer like this. Let me help you." Abiola shook his head, laughing. "I think I'm a hopeless cook." Chioma rolled up her sleeves confidently. "No, you're not. I learned cooking from my mother. I'll show you." She gently took the spoon from him and began adding ingredients, moving with ease. Abiola watched closely, surprised by how natural she looked in the kitchen. As the noodles cooked, the smell changed, rich, tasty, comforting. Abiola smiled. "Wow, you're really good at this." Chioma smiled softly, focused on the pot. "I had to learn. Back home, everyone helps." And as they stood there together, neither of them realized how much this small moment was changing the direction of everything. So, for the next hour, Chioma patiently taught Abiola how to properly season noodles and eggs, adding just the right amount of spices and slicing sausage into neat pieces, while Abiola stood close by, watching every step with genuine interest as the simple meal slowly came together. And when it was finally ready, he served himself and sat at the kitchen table, taking one big bite before pausing in surprise and saying honestly, "Wow, this is really delicious," which made Chioma smile proudly as she replied that she was glad he liked it and explained how back home she used to help her mother bake bread and cook for the family, so simple meals came naturally to her, causing Abiola to chuckle and shake his head as he said she was full of surprises, making Chioma laugh softly with a warm sense of pride, while Abiola leaned back in his chair and admitted quietly that he was glad she was there and that it had been fun. And as the clock crept toward 6 p.m., they cleaned up together, Chioma wiping the counters while Abiola rinsed the plates, with Chioma saying she was happy he enjoyed it, and Abiola handing her a towel with a smile, telling her she was great company and that he could get used to evenings like that with a playful wink, after which Chioma and her friends soon gathered their bags, ready to leave, and Chioma turned to him politely to thank him sincerely for everything, only for Abiola to wave it off and ask how they were getting home. To which Chioma replied they would get a ride before Bimbo quickly cut in with a smile saying any help would do, making Abiola laugh softly as he reached into a drawer and brought out envelopes, handing one to each of them and explaining it was for their trip home, causing Bimbo's eyes to light up as she thanked him excitedly while Chioma stared at the envelope in disbelief and gratitude, calling it very generous, and then Abiola pulled out his phone and asked for Chioma's number, making her cheeks warm as she shyly agreed, typed it in, and saved it, while Bimbo nudged her and winked teasingly that maybe they should have done this sooner, leaving Chioma laughing shyly with her heart beating faster as they stepped out. When Dealey returned from Baba's place later that day, he found Abiola in the living room, and Abiola looked up immediately and asked casually, "How far, guy?" "What did Baba say?" Dealey dropped into a chair and exhaled slowly, a strange smile creeping onto his face as he said,
"Baba said one of the girls carries rare luck. Strong luck. The kind that attracts wealth. Doors opening wherever she goes."
And Abiola straightened a little and asked, "And?" As Dealey lowered his voice and added, he said, "All we need is her menstruation blood." And there was a brief silence before Dealey continued calmly, "So the plan is simple. You make her very free with you, very comfortable, and once she trusts you, we'll get what we want." And Abiola laughed softly, shaking his head confidently as he said, "You know me nah, I'm good with girls. Trust me, she fall in love with me." While Dealey chuckled and replied, "I know, that's why I'm not worried," and the two of them laughed together, the sound light, careless, and dangerous. That same night back at the hostel, just as Chioma was about to sleep, Her phone rang and her heart jumped when she saw Abiola's name, and she hesitated for a second before answering as his voice came softly through the line saying, "Hey, baby girl," making Chioma tense for a moment before smiling and replying,
"Why do you always call me when I'm about to sleep?"
"Because that's when I know you are relaxed and free to talk. Hope I'm not bothering you, princess. Just wanted to hear your cute voice."
Which made Chioma grin under her blanket as she replied softly that she liked talking to him. And they spoke quietly in hushed tones, both blushing as they talked about small things, how their day went, random jokes, little laughs that lingered longer than they should have until, before hanging up, Abiola said in a low, confident voice, "I'll call you every night," causing Chioma to nearly melt as she whispered, "I'll wait," and after saying goodnight and the line went dead. She lay there staring at her phone and smiling for a long time. The next morning, Chioma was doing her chores, still smiling to herself, when her phone rang again. And before she could answer, Bimbo slid into the room with a knowing grin and said slowly, "Hey, Chioma? Another phone call?" Then added, "No trust guys for this Legos, you just have to chop and clean mouth. Do you think he doesn't have another girlfriend? Just make sure you get his money and leave him. Don't fall in love. Oh, it's Mumu that falls in love." And Chioma raised an eyebrow and laughed lightly as she said, "I hear you, Bimbo." A couple of days later, Chioma was at the salon with Bimbo, hair rollers sitting firmly on her head, when Bimbo suddenly turned to her and asked casually, "So, Chioma, have you started billing him yet?" Making Chioma twist the towel in her lap in confusion as she asked, "What do you mean?" While Bimbo scoffed and replied, "What do you mean? What do I mean?" "Wise up, girl. You have to bill him. Do you think his other girlfriends aren't billing him? I even thought you were smart." And Chioma frowned slightly and said, "We just started talking. Isn't it too early for that?" Bimbo rolled her eyes dramatically and said, "Girl, you know wise, Abeg." A few days later, a knock came at the hostel door, and a man announced, "Delivery for Chioma," from Oga Abiola, as he handed over a large bouquet of red roses and a fancy box, and Chioma's eyes widened in shock as she exclaimed, "Ah, he got me flowers and shoes," unaware that what looked like love and generosity was already tied to a much darker plan unfolding quietly behind her back. They opened the box. Inside was a stunning pair of brand new high heels. "Wow," Chioma gasped. "These are so pretty." Bimbo jumped up, clapping her hands. "Nice. Not bad at all." Bimbo teared up a little at the scene. "He's really into you." The next day, another knock, "Another delivery for Miss Chioma," said the driver. This time, it was a necklace and a box of chocolates. Chioma's jaw dropped. "He's really spoiling me," she said, sitting on the bed and lining up the gifts. Her bed was now a mound of roses, shoes, and trinkets. Bimbo flopped down next to her, eyeing the pile of gifts. "Look at you, the rich lady," she teased. "When are you going to give me some of that?" Chioma laughed. "Here, you can have the pink box," she said, handing Bimbo a jewelry box. Bimbo squealed, "Yes! Thank you, rich madam."
A few moments later.
Chioma yawned. "Long day," she said, rubbing her eyes. "I need some sleep. Abiola, I hope you love the gift I sent you." "Yes, I love them, thank you. I'm glad you did," Abiola said. "You look tired, princess. Get some rest," he said warmly. "I'll call you tomorrow." Chioma smiled sleepily. "Thank you, I will." Abiola hung up. And so, Chioma lay asleep that night, her phone resting beside her pillow after the call, a soft smile still on her lips as dreams of love, gifts, and sweet promises filled her mind, unaware that not everyone smiling around her wished her well. What she saw as love, generosity, and good fortune was slowly pulling her deeper into a web she could not yet see. But the question remains. Will Abiola and his friends succeed in carrying out their dark plan? Will Chioma fall completely in love with Abiola? Or will she sense the danger before it's too late? If you want to find out what happens next, make sure you subscribe now so you don't miss the coming episode. And please, rate this story on a scale of 1 to 10 in the comments. I really want to know what you think. The next chapter is coming. And trust me, you don't want to miss it.